Hello there, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to check out how to build a reusable grid system that we can use for our design project. So let's do this.
Okay, so just before we start, why would you want to use a grid system? So grid systems are really good for consistency and alignment. So it's going to ensure a nice structured, balanced layout. It's going to be good for scaling. So for responsiveness, we can do it across desktop, tablet, and mobile and ensure it's consistent. I think with grids, it's going to create logical spacing for better content flow on the page, and it's going to make things easier to read. This is probably going to make your developer's life a bit easier as well, because it's simplifying the design decisions. We're going to use a locked-in grid for specific devices, so your developer will always know desktop's always going to use this grid, tablet's going to use this grid, mobile's going to use this grid, so that's good. And as a designer, it's going to make your life a lot easier. It's going to make you more efficient because you can have these predefined grids set out. You're going to be organized and you're going to be able to work a lot quicker. So I'm just going to jump into our overview, as it's been a while. So I think it'd be a good idea to build out some grids that will respond across different devices and not just desktop. Even though we are going to be designing for desktop during this project, it's probably a good idea to build out a grid system that would allow people to design for tablet and for mobile as well. Okay, so I had the research file open as well as I was looking through some of the wireframes that we've done, and just clicking on the frames, we've got a width of 1440, so that's pretty common desktop size. So let me close that. Let's go back to our style guide file. So to kick this off, let's click on the shadows and let's click on the plus up here to add a new page, because we want a page beneath that, and we're going to label that grids. Okay, now I'm going to click F on the keyboard for frame, and I'm just going to go to desktop, and I want a width of 1440, and I'm going to say to Figma, no, I'm not making slides. Okay, so that is our desktop frame. Now I'm going to click F on the keyboard again. So I'm actually going to draw out a tablet device with a width of 768. That's a fairly common size for tablets, so I'll keep them the same height for the moment. I'll just label that tablet. Okay, now if I press F on the keyboard and go to phone up here, what we want is 390 is quite a common size. So we'll drag that in there. Let me just rename that to mobile. Okay, so these are going to be the breakpoints, so the common devices that we're going to be designing for. So for grids, what I'm going to do is I'm going to design breakpoints for desktop, tablet and mobile. And whilst we're only focusing on the desktop during this project in the beginning, it's going to be quite useful, as I say, to have the tablet and mobile on standby in case future iterations or future projects need those device sizes. So we've got them all ready. Okay, so now what we're going to do is let's go into local variables and set up some breakpoints and some grids that we want to use for our devices. So let's go to local variables. Let's click on collection. Let's say create collection. So let's rename this as breakpoints and grids. Okay, that's good. So let's go in here and let's start with the breakpoint. So let's create a variable and let's create a number. Just before I start, I'm going to add a few modes. So let's add 1 mode, 2 mode, and 3. And the reason why is we're going to do desktop, we're going to do tablet, and we're going to do mobile. So the first one we're going to do is it's going to be our breakpoint variable. And for desktop, that's going to be 1440. Just double check. Yep, 1440. Tablet is 768. So let's add 768 here. And mobile is 390. So let's add that in here. Okay, great. So those are added. And I imagine if I close this and if I draw out a random frame, go into width, find my breakpoints, select breakpoint. So that's 1440 for desktop. If I go into apply variable mode, so we have desktop, tablet, and mobile. So that's nice. All very easy to filter on as well. So we can delete that. Okay, so let's go back into our local variables again. So let's go and create some grid options. So where are we? Let's click on create variable, create a number. Now the first one we're going to do is for columns. So how many columns do we want? On desktop, it's quite common to have 12. And actually, instead of typing 12, So let's use 12 here under the master units. For tablet, we'll go down to 8. And again, I've just typed 8. I should just put in 8 from the master units. So 8. And on mobile, won't make the same mistake again. We're going to go to 4. So let's find 4. There we go. So those are quite common numbers that you would use for columns when designing in those different device types. So 12 for desktop, 8 for tablet, and 4 for mobile. Because if you had 12 columns on mobile, it would just look really cluttered and the columns would be really narrow. So you don't need too many on mobile, but obviously on desktop you have a wider viewport, so you need more columns to align your elements. Okay, so let's add the next variable. So create variable, we're going to create a number, and the next one will be margin. So margins for desktop are going to be 80. Again, let's find our master units. Let's go to 80. Tablet, we're going to do 24. There we go. And for mobile, we're going to do 16. Okay, so that's the margin across our different device types. Let's go in, create another variable again. It's going to be a number variable. Let's do gutter. So for desktop, we're going to give it 32. So let's find 32. There we go. For tablet, it's going to be 24. And for mobile, we're going to do 16. Right, there we go. So we've got our breakpoints, our columns, our margins, and our gutters. So that's really good. So all the variables appear to be set up for our different device types. I guess if you wanted to add more devices and different device breakpoints at a later date, you can, because we've got them set up in variables. But for now, we'll just use these 3. Let me close the variables panel for now. And what I'm going to do, option drag out a frame. So let's drag out a desktop. And now let's go into width and click on the variable icon. So let's scroll down, go to our breakpoints, and we're going to use 1440. And now what happens is we actually get the apply variable mode option here, and now we can toggle between desktop, tablet sizes, and mobile, which is really nice. So I just reset that to desktop. What I want to do now is I want to go down to layout grid, click on the plus. I want to change it from grid to column. And now I want to go into the layout grid settings by clicking this icon. Okay, so let's start with the count. So the count is how many columns do you want? So let's click on the drop down, click on apply variable. Let's scroll all the way to the bottom and click on columns. And that's going to be 12 for desktop. I want to change the color here because I'm not keen on the red. So let me just go back to colors. Yeah, let's just use our top brown color here. So 262678. So come back here. Go into the settings, 262678. Okay, that's fine, and that's 10%. I'm going to leave the type set to stretch. The width is auto. We're going to go into margin here. I'm going to scroll the way down. And we're going to select margin here under breakpoints and grids. For gutter, I'm going to go here, click on the variable, scroll all the way down, go to gutter. And that should be all our settings for desktop. So that looks good. Let me just option and drag that out. Let me go up to here to breakpoints and grids. Let's set that to tablet. So now that changes. So it's gone from 12 grids to 8. And if I just rename that to tablet, if I click, option, click and drag, bring that out. And let's toggle that down to mobile. And now we get our 4 column grids for mobile. So as you can see, that was really quick to do. Under local variables, we've created 3 breakpoints, and you can add more in the future, which is great. We've added columns, margin and gutters that will then define the grid system that we use for each device type. And this will just ensure that we're consistent going forward. If you don't want to see the grids, you can just go into the layers panel and turn them off. That's fine. Or you can just leave them on as you're designing. Okay, so we've got our breakpoints and our grids applied. This is going to make our life a lot easier. So if I draw out a shape within this frame here for desktop, you can see when I drag the shape around, it's actually snapping to the grid points. Just here and just here. And that's really useful. So when you're designing out layouts or different card layouts, as an example, you can keep consistent spacing across the viewport, and it's going to look nice and organized, visually appealing. It's going to look better all round, and you know you're not going to get any funny gaps or spacing as you're using a predefined grid system. Okay, so let's go up to assets and go into the icon here and publish our changes. So let's go into the variable collections. Let's just see what we've done. So we've added some breakpoints, some columns, some gutters and margins. Let's go up here. So I'm just going to put added breakpoints and grids. So I've added a note here, added breakpoints and grids to variables. So let's click on publish. And there we go. Those changes are published and ready to use in our file. Okay, just before I go, I should probably tidy up this file. So let's just delete those. Let's delete those items there. And I'm just going to steal this frame here from the shadows. Let's just lock that again, go back into grids. Let's paste it in here. And let's just rename this to grids. Don't need the shadows in that container for now. Okay, I'm just going to take the text here from the spacing. Let's go back, let's lock that. Let's go back into our grids. Paste that in. At least I know that's using the variables for our typography. So let's go in here and document what we have. Let me just open the variables panel as well, because that will make my life a bit easier. Okay, great. I just thought I'd add that to the page. It makes it a little bit easier when other people are accessing the file. So we'll just move that closer to the grids. And that's just going to help if anyone else jumps into the file. At least they'll have a bit of context on what the grids are set up as. All right, let's just check in and go back to our project overview. So we've wireframed out our pages. We've done some competitor research. We've done our colors, our typography. We haven't done imagery or iconography yet, so we could have a look at that next. Design system components, and actually we've got a grid system point here to maintain visual consistency with defined margins and padding, which we've achieved in this video. We've still got our deliverables here because we've still got lots to do. I think in the next video we can start to look at icons, so we can do a little bit of research and see if we can utilize a plugin or maybe a website for certain icons. So yeah, we'll have a look in the next video. Anyway, great job so far. Thanks for getting to this point in the video, and stay with me as we build out our project further.
Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks for getting to the end. Like and subscribe, add some comments, check out some other videos on my channel. So yeah, another day, another video. We're going to continue to build out our project, so keep following along. If you have any questions, add some comments and let me know what your thoughts are. If there's anything I haven't covered, drop it in the comments and I'll see if I can help. So yeah, that is it for today. Have a great day. Thanks for subscribing, and I will see you in the next video. Every 5 minutes there is another plane or a bird. It's always a bird that's chirping on the roof right there. Every time trying to film a video. Maybe they're having some kind of party that I don't know about. Unbelievable.